My mom chose my abusive stepdad over me for years. Now she's asking to move in with me after he left her. I let her stay, but things got complicated fast. I'm a 32-year-old woman named Sarah, living alone in the house I inherited from my grandparents. My life was going pretty well until last week when I got an unexpected call from my mother, Linda, 58F. I was relaxing after a long day at work when my phone rang. Seeing it was my mom, I hesitated before answering. We hadn't spoken in over 5 years. When I picked up, I heard her voice trembling. Linda said, "Sarah, I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I really need your help." I felt my heart racing as I asked, "What's going on, Mom?" She explained that my stepdad, Tom, 60M, had left her. She was staying with a friend temporarily but needed a place to live. Then she asked if she could come stay with me until she figured things out. I was shocked. A flood of memories came rushing back, memories of the tumultuous years after my dad died when I was just 15. Mom had married Tom less than a year later, and everything changed. Tom never liked me. He constantly criticized everything I did and made it clear he didn't want me around. Mom always took his side, telling me I needed to try harder to get along with him. When I tried to talk to her about how Tom treated me, she accused me of being jealous and trying to ruin her happiness. The situation got worse when I turned 18. Tom started pressuring Mom to kick me out, saying I was an adult and needed to fend for myself. Mom didn't outright ask me to leave, but she made it clear I wasn't welcome anymore. She stopped buying groceries for me, complained about my presence in the house, and even started locking the door to the laundry room so I couldn't do my laundry. I was in my first year of college, struggling to balance my studies with a part-time job. The stress at home made everything so much harder. I felt completely alone and unwanted in my own home. Luckily, my grandparents stepped in. When they found out what was happening, they offered to let me live with them. I moved in with them right after my first year of college ended. Living with my grandparents was a turning point in my life. They were loving, supportive, and encouraged me to pursue my dreams. With their help, I was able to focus on my studies and graduate with honors. After college, I got a job as a teacher at a local high school. I stayed with my grandparents, helping to take care of them as they got older. When they passed away a few years ago, they left me their house. During all this time, my relationship with my mom remained strained. We only spoke occasionally, usually on holidays or birthdays. She never apologized for how she treated me or tried to make amends. Tom remained a constant presence in her life, and she seemed content with her choice. Now, hearing her ask for my help, I felt a mix of anger and confusion. Part of me wanted to hang up and never speak to her again. But another part remembered the mom she used to be before Tom came into our lives. I told her I needed time to think about it and ended the call. Now I'm sitting here, trying to process everything. I can't help but think about how different my life might have been if she had chosen to support me instead of Tom all those years ago. I've worked hard to build a stable life for myself. I love my job, I have good friends, and I'm even dating a nice guy named Mike, 34M, who I met at work. The thought of disrupting all of that by letting my mom move in makes me anxious. But I also feel guilty. She's still my mom, after all. What if she ends up homeless? Could I live with myself knowing I turned her away when she needed help? I'm also curious about what happened with Tom. Why did he leave after all these years? Is there something more to the story that I don't know? I feel like I need more information before I can make a decision. But I'm also afraid of getting pulled back into family drama that I've worked so hard to distance myself from. Part of me wants to just say no. To tell her that she made her choice years ago when she chose Tom over me, and now she has to live with the consequences. But I worry that's just my hurt and anger talking. I've thought about calling my grandparents' old friends for advice, but I'm embarrassed. I've never told anyone the full story of what happened with my mom and Tom. It's always been too painful to discuss. I keep thinking about what my grandparents would want me to do in this situation. They always taught me to be kind and forgiving, but they also believed in standing up for yourself. There's a small part of me that sees this as an opportunity. Maybe if Mom lives with me, we can repair our relationship. Maybe she'll finally be the mother I needed all those years ago. But I know that's probably just wishful thinking. I'm worried about resentment building if I do let her move in. What if I agree and then regret it? What if all those old feelings of anger and abandonment come rushing back? There's also the practical side to consider. Where would she sleep? Would she contribute financially or expect me to cover everything? How long would she stay? The more I think about it, the more overwhelmed I feel. This decision feels impossibly huge. Whatever I choose, it's going to have a major impact on my life. For now, I think I need to take some time to process everything. I don't want to make a rash decision based on emotion. I need to think carefully about what I want and what I can realistically handle. I'm planning to call my mom back tomorrow and ask for more details about her situation. I want to know exactly what happened with Tom, what her current living situation is like, and what her expectations are if I were to let her stay here. I also think I need to have a serious conversation with Mike about all this. His opinion matters to me, and this would affect him too if he spends time at my place. As I sit here in my grandparents' old house, my house now, I feel a mix of emotions. Sadness for the family I lost, pride in what I've accomplished, anxiety about the future. But mostly, I feel determined to make the best decision I can, whatever that may be. I know I don't owe my mom anything. She wasn't there for me when I needed her most. But I also know that holding on to anger and resentment isn't good for me. Either way, I know this won't be an easy decision. But I've faced tough choices before and come out stronger. Whatever happens, I'll get through this too. I just need time to think, gather more information, and figure out what's best for me. Update 1: It's been a week since my last post, and a lot has happened. I wanted to update you all on the situation with my mom. After my initial post, I decided to gather more information before making a decision. I called my mom back the next day to get more details about her situation. What she told me was surprising, to say the least. Apparently, Tom hadn't left her, she had left him. She explained that over the past few years, she had started to realize how controlling and manipulative Tom was. She said she regretted how she had treated me and had been trying to find the courage to leave him for a while. The final straw came when she found out Tom had been secretly gambling away their savings. They had a huge fight, and she finally decided she'd had enough. She packed a bag and left, staying with her friend temporarily. I listened to her explanation, feeling a mix of emotions. Part of me was glad she had finally seen Tom's true colors, but another part was angry that it had taken her so long. Where was this realization when I needed her all those years ago? I asked her about her plans moving forward. She said she wanted to file for divorce but was scared because Tom had always handled all their finances. She didn't have much money of her own and was worried about how she would support herself. Then she brought up the idea of moving in with me again. She said she understood if I didn't want to, given our history, but she hoped we could use this as an opportunity to rebuild our relationship. I told her I needed more time to think about it and ended the call. I felt overwhelmed by everything she had told me. The next day, I talked to Mike about the situation. He was supportive but cautious. He reminded me that I needed to prioritize my own well-being and not feel obligated to help someone who had hurt me in the past, even if it was my mother. After a lot of thought, I made a decision. I called my mom back and told her she could stay with me, but with some strict conditions. 1. It would be temporary, no more than 3 months. 2. She would need to contribute to household expenses. 3. She would need to actively look for a job in her own place to live. 4. We would need to attend family counseling together to work on our relationship. I also made it clear that this was her chance to make things right, and if she violated my trust or my rules, she would need to leave immediately. My mom agreed to all the conditions, sounding grateful and relieved. We arranged for her to move in the following weekend. The day she moved in was strange and emotional. Seeing her in my grandparents' old house brought back a lot of memories, both good and bad. She didn't have much with her, just a couple of suitcases and some boxes. As we were unpacking, she came across an old photo album. Inside were pictures from when I was little, before my dad died and before Tom came into our lives. We sat on the floor looking through it together, and for a moment, it felt like we were bridging the gap of all those lost years. But reality quickly set in. Living with my mom has been challenging, to say the least. She's trying, I can see that, but years of bad habits and strained relationships don't disappear overnight. We've had a few arguments already. She sometimes slips into her old habits of criticizing me or trying to control things in the house. When this happens, I have to firmly remind her that this is my house and my rules. We've had 2 counseling sessions so far. They've been difficult but enlightening. Our counselor is helping us communicate better and understand each other's perspectives. It's a slow process, but I think we're making progress. On the positive side, my mom has been actively job hunting. She has an interview lined up next week for a receptionist position at a local doctor's office. She's also been contributing to groceries and helping around the house. Mike has been incredibly supportive through all of this. He's given me space when I need it but has also been a great listener when I need to vent. It's only been a week, and I'm already exhausted. I'm trying to balance my job, my relationship with Mike, and now this complicated situation with my mom. There are moments when I question whether I made the right decision in letting her stay. But then there are other moments, like when we cooked dinner together last night and actually had a nice conversation, that make me think maybe, just maybe, we can repair our relationship. I know we have a long way to go, and I'm trying to keep my expectations realistic. I'm taking it one day at a time and reminding myself that I can always change my mind if things don't work out. Thank you all for your support and advice on my last post. I'll update again if there are any significant developments. Update 2. It's been about a month since my last update, and I wanted to share some developments in the situation with my mom. Things have been complicated. There have been ups and downs, and I'm still not sure how I feel about everything. On the positive side, my mom did get the job as a receptionist at the doctor's office. She started 2 weeks ago and seems to be enjoying it. She's been contributing more to household expenses, which has been helpful. We've continued with our counseling sessions. They're still difficult, but I think we're making progress. Last week, my mom finally gave me a genuine apology for how she treated me when I was younger. It was emotional for both of us, and while it doesn't erase the past, it felt like a step in the right direction. However, there have also been some challenges. About 2 weeks ago, I came home from work to find Tom, my stepdad, sitting in my living room with my mom. I was shocked and angry. I had made it clear that he wasn't welcome in my house. My mom explained that Tom had reached out to her, saying he wanted to reconcile. She said she was confused about her feelings and wanted to hear him out. I reminded her that this was my house and that I wasn't comfortable with Tom being there. This led to a big argument. My mom accused me of trying to control her life, just like she had done to me in the past. I told her that wasn't fair. I was just trying to maintain boundaries in my own home. The argument ended with my mom leaving with Tom. She didn't come back that night, and I was worried that she had decided to go back to him. However, she returned the next day. She apologized for bringing Tom to the house without asking me first. She said she realized during their conversation that she didn't want to go back to her old life with him. She asked if she could still stay with me, promising it wouldn't happen again. I was conflicted but decided to give her another chance. We discussed it in our next counseling session, and our counselor helped us establish clearer boundaries. Another issue that's come up is my relationship with Mike. He's been incredibly patient and understanding, but I can tell the situation is starting to strain our relationship. We don't get as much alone time as we used to, and when we do, I'm often distracted or stressed about things with my mom. Last weekend, Mike suggested we take a short trip together, just the two of us. I was hesitant to leave my mom alone in the house, but I realized I needed some time away to clear my head. We went to a nearby beach town for 2 days. It was nice to relax and focus on our relationship without any distractions. When we got back, I felt refreshed and more capable of handling the situation at home. As for my mom, she seems to be making an effort to respect my boundaries and work on our relationship. She's opened up more about her marriage to Tom and her regrets about how she treated me. It's been hard to hear, but I think it's helping me understand her better. We're now halfway through the 3-month period we agreed on. I'm still not sure what will happen when that time is up. Part of me hopes that we can continue to improve our relationship, but another part is looking forward to having my space back. For now, I'm trying to take it one day at a time. I'm proud of the progress we've made, but I'm also trying to stay realistic about the future of our relationship. Thank you all for your continued support. I'll update again if there are any major changes. Update 3. It's been another month, and I wanted to give you all another update on the situation with my mom. Things have continued to be a roller coaster of emotions and events. Just when I think we're making progress, something happens to set us back. About 2 weeks ago, I came home from work early due to a migraine. As I walked into the house, I heard my mom on the phone in the kitchen. She was talking to Tom again. From what I could hear, it seemed like they had been in regular contact. My mom was telling him about her new job and discussing their shared finances. She mentioned something about meeting up to talk things through. I was hurt and angry. After everything that had happened, after all our counseling sessions and discussions about boundaries, she was still in contact with Tom behind my back. I confronted her about it once she got off the phone. She got defensive at first, saying I was eavesdropping and that she had a right to talk to whoever she wanted. But when I reminded her of our agreement and the conditions of her staying with me, she broke down. She admitted that she'd been talking to Tom regularly for the past few weeks. She said she was confused about her feelings and didn't know what she wanted. Part of her missed the familiarity of her life with Tom, even though she knew it wasn't healthy. We had a long, emotional conversation. I told her I felt betrayed and that I wasn't sure I could trust her anymore. She apologized and promised to cut off contact with Tom, but I'm not sure I believe her. The next day, I called our counselor and scheduled an emergency session. In the session, we talked about trust, boundaries, and the difficulty of breaking long-standing patterns in relationships. The counselor suggested that my mom might benefit from individual therapy in addition to our family sessions. She agreed to look into it. On a more positive note, my mom has been doing well at her job. Her boss even mentioned the possibility of a promotion in the near future. She's also been looking at apartments, though she hasn't made any concrete plans to move out yet. As for me, I'm feeling increasingly torn. On one hand, I can see that my mom is trying to change and improve our relationship. On the other hand, the incident with Tom has made me question whether I can ever fully trust her. My relationship with Mike has been strained by all of this. We had a serious talk last week about the future of our relationship. He's been incredibly patient, but he expressed concern about the toll this situation is taking on both of us. We're nearing the end of the 3-month period my mom and I initially agreed on. I'm not sure what's going to happen next. Part of me wants to extend the arrangement to give our relationship more time to heal. Another part of me is exhausted and ready to have my life back to normal. I know I have some big decisions to make in the coming weeks. I'm trying to balance my own needs with my desire to help my mom and repair our relationship. It's not an easy position to be in. For now, I'm focusing on setting clearer boundaries and taking care of my own mental health. I've started going to a yoga class twice a week to help manage my stress, and I'm making more of an effort to spend quality time with Mike. I'll update again once I've made a decision about what happens after the 3-month period is up. Thank you all for your support and advice throughout this journey. Update 4: It's been 2 weeks since my last update, and I've made some tough decisions that I wanted to share with you all. As the end of the 3-month period approached, I did a lot of thinking about my situation with my mom. I talked it over with Mike, reflected on our counseling sessions, and really tried to listen to my gut feelings. In the end, I decided not to extend my mom's stay. I told her she needed to find her own place by the end of the month, as we had originally agreed. It wasn't an easy conversation. My mom was upset and tried to argue that we were making progress and needed more time. But I stood firm. I explained that while I appreciated the steps she had taken, I needed my space back. I also told her that I thought it would be healthier for both of us to continue working on our relationship while living separately. To my surprise, after the initial shock wore off, my mom seemed to understand. She admitted that living together had been challenging for her too, and that maybe some distance would be good for us. Over the next week, she found a small apartment not too far from her job. It's not fancy, but it's affordable and in a decent area. I helped her move in last weekend. As we were unpacking her things in her new place, we had a heart-to-heart conversation. My mom thanked me for giving her a chance and a place to stay when she needed it. She acknowledged that she still has a lot of work to do on herself, but she's committed to continuing with therapy and improving our relationship. I told her that while I'm glad we've made some progress, I still have a lot of hurt and trust issues to work through. I said I'm willing to continue working on our relationship, but it needs to be at a pace I'm comfortable with. We agreed to keep up with our family counseling sessions, but on a bi-weekly basis instead of weekly. We also set up a schedule for regular phone calls and occasional dinners together. As for Tom, my mom swears she's cut off all contact with him. She showed me that she's blocked his number on her phone. Only time will tell if she sticks to this, but I'm cautiously optimistic. My relationship with Mike has improved since making this decision. He's been incredibly supportive throughout this whole ordeal, and I'm grateful to have him in my life. We're planning a vacation together next month, something we both desperately need. Looking back on these past 3 months, I have mixed feelings. It was a difficult and emotionally draining experience, but I also feel like I've grown a lot. I've learned to set boundaries, stand up for myself, and communicate more effectively. My relationship with my mom isn't perfect, and I don't know if it ever will be. But it's better than it was before, and I'm hopeful that we can continue to make progress. To everyone who's followed my story and offered advice and support along the way, thank you. Your words of encouragement and perspective have been invaluable. I'm looking forward to having my space back and focusing on my own life again. But I'm also cautiously optimistic about the future of my relationship with my mom. It's a work in progress,